Welcome to Beyond the Press Release, a production of Gorcom, in which we take the time to speak with small cap executives after they put out important news. And today, in today's interview, we got multiple pieces of important news because we've got Rob Anson on. He's the CEO of FOBI, trades in Canada, the stock symbol FOBI. For friends in the US, FOBIF. For those who are new to the story, because you're seeing these pretty big headlines that are coming out as of late, here's what you need to know. The company is a global leader, literally. They're putting their money where their mouth is in digital wallet pass technology. And what they're doing is delivering real-time data analytics and engagement using artificial intelligence. And what does that lead to? Drives customer activation and engagement. Where do they do it? Stores, stadiums, arenas, hotels, and other large venues around the world. Typically, this is where in most interviews, I'll rack off 2 or 3 or 4 great things that a company's done. But in FOBI's case, I've got a list of about 20 bullet points. So what might be easier is here are the 2 most recent press releases amongst many. First, Checkpoint Venue Management Solution chosen for prestigious award show. We're going to find out who that is. And they announced a Checkpoint contract this morning with a large U.S. stock exchange for digital venue management and access. Rob, welcome back, my friend.
Good morning, George. It's been a while. Good to see you.
It's been a while. We both kind of took off for March break, so hopefully you're looking good. You got some color. Hopefully you're refreshed, ready to go.
Yeah, always working, of course, but now it's nice to get a bit of a break with the family and enjoy some good weather and spend some quality time. Nice to disconnect for a few days at least.
Yeah, especially you, given what's going on. Hey, let me tell you something. You must, and I mean you, FOBI, must be really moving the top of the food chain, because I've been around for almost 25 years. As of April 23rd, it'll be 25 years. When you start seeing more and more press releases with undisclosed names in the headlines, right? Safe to say that FOBI just keeps moving up and up in terms of the kind of organizations that we're attracting interest in.
Yeah, I think it's credit to our latest product innovation, which is Checkpoint. It's about automating controlled access and entry. As I've said on record, the way the future is digital footprint through transformation of experiences, first and foremost, and NFC, which is near field communication, enables this one touch, one scan entry point with integration of data, credential, ticketing. In case in point, that's exactly what Checkpoint is here, of automating and improving efficiencies and operations, and more importantly, user experiences.
And most people, when they heard that, and I can't blame them, right? It's hard for them to really figure out how good Checkpoint is because it all sounds great, but it's new technology, right? It's just a new way. Then we have these 2 press releases. So I just read them off. Can we talk about the names? Are you able to talk about the names? Like for the first one was prestigious award show. Who was that?
Yeah, I don't think it was a surprise to anyone that we've been working with the Oscars for quite a few months. They reached out actually through the Past Creator website. David Spohr and Alex Hell and Tamer and Mike and team did an amazing job supporting the operation, the initiative. That was part of our partnership with Janum as well, which is growing nicely and doing some great things together. It also gave great support for the NFC element for Checkpoint and support from Apple. Their team on the ground was quite instrumental in a lot of the training and support element and education around NFC and the check-in experience. So it was a tremendous opportunity for us. And it's some of these things that, unfortunately, I can't pre-market. But to your point, when you're working with the top and the elite organizations, security and privacy around their events and strategies, of course, are usually top priority, and precludes us from being able to share a lot of information, unfortunately.
Which is paradoxically a great sign for a small cap company too, right? Because the higher up in these organizations you move, we might hopefully we'll see more and more of that. Let's talk about Apple for a second. You mentioned there that Apple was involved on the near field communication NFC side. What was their level of involvement, and how aware are they of FOBI and Checkpoint as a result of all this?
Well, the Apple VAS platform is that's to me where the greatest opportunity with NFC is consolidating all of these different silos into one mobile experience. And Apple's done an amazing job on developing and designing the way of the future encompassed into the Apple Wallet. So we had great support on the ground for the event, for the Oscars, educating people as to the check-in experience for NFC. We saw some numbers of 45 to 5,000 people in a 15-minute period. So the high velocity, and this is really what it's about. As I said, it's always about user experience. And we're continually looking to raise the bar and set the new standard for access and entry, which is another big part of the Apple business that hopefully will gain some more openness to and exposure as well. And like I said, having our technology being the entry point and verification point for an event like the Oscars is quite something for us, of course, as a small cap company in Vancouver, Canada. It's the highest viewed event outside of the World Cup. So it's a big stage, and having, of course, Hollywood's finest and the, fortunate or unfortunate incident, depending upon what side you're on, with Will Smith, gain a lot of exposure to the event. And yeah, for us, it's just kind of, on to the next, as they say.
Can you give us some metrics if possible? Because it's a big one-day event. You got the Oscars, you got the governor's ball. How did it go at the end of the day? How was execution? Because look, it's still brand new, right? How did it all go?
Yeah, they're very, very happy. I mean, everything went off without a hitch. Our team did an amazing job on the ground with the training. Of course, our tech team ensuring everything was going on the back end. David Spohr did an amazing job with all the development. Of course, these groups know what they know, and throughout these things and events, they always ask for new art of what's possible experiences. And David worked around the clock for a good 3 to 4 weeks to ensure that everything was up to their expectation. And those exercises are great because at the end of the day, there's, sometimes you have, let's call them MVP product features that, you built as demo state, but when it's showtime, it's showtime. So our team really stood up and very proud of the accomplishment of what they delivered on.
It's an understatement to say that some of the world's biggest influencers were there. Studio heads, actors, celebrities, agents, corporations,
Yep.
the likes of Apple, Amazon, Netflix, they're all there because of their streaming side and all that. What kind of exposure, and do you have any specifics maybe of the kind of exposure FOBI got as a result of this really smooth interface and really smooth venue access management that I would be impressed with? If I didn't know who FOBI was, but I was there because I'm head of George Com Studios, I would say, hey, I would think I'd say, this is pretty cool tech. Why don't we use this for our studio or our lots or anything like that could or may be coming out of this?
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, as I said, George, with NFC capabilities, it's always about user experience. At the end of the day, all these technologies are great, but unless it benefits the user, they don't usually go anywhere. And I think this is the key metric here of streamlining the entry element and eliminating the backlogs, consolidating your credentials with ticketing and verification as to who you are. Obviously, a high security event such as this we've just finished here and leading on to the next one, very high profile for sure for exposure.
Let's move on to the next one, which is today's press release. Checkpoint contract for the large U.S. stock exchange. Are we able to talk about who that is?
It's a great question.
Oh, not too early to talk about, huh?
It's too early to talk about that, and it is what it is. I mean, I don't think it's too difficult to figure it out, but I want to make sure that I don't get my hands slapped as well. So it's a great opportunity. It's for their employees, their offices, their conferences that they host, all of those visitors that come through, as we're talking about earlier, who ring the bell, large tech organizations that kind of put us on the map per se. So it's another high capacity, high volume credential verification and entry standpoint. So
and that one may be even more I don't want to use the word serious, but I'll use that for now because this is going to be ongoing, right? It's at a big stock exchange.
Yeah, it's a 1
traffic
year
every day in and out. George has permission to be at the stock exchange today, but doesn't have permission to be there tomorrow, on and off. So this, I'm assuming, is a much more robust system than the Oscars.
Most definitely. Yeah. These Oscars, are great for, as you said, high profile exposure. They're one-offs, they're setups plus, of course, pass fees. But this is like perpetuity now over the year. Each and every person that comes through the door gets their credential, their pass. We get paid on that element. So this is the real deal. This is more of a, I don't want to say high level security, but to your point of restricted access on certain days, certain offices, certain rooms. This is, as I said, is the way of the future.
And a lot more sensitive, right? Because whatever's going on the stock exchanges, all respect to the Oscars, but it's a one-day great gala, great event, award show. But I would think the information and security and what around a stock exchange, a large U.S. stock exchange, which I'm going to say, look, on my own opinion, it's either anybody watches CNBC, you either see the bell ring at the New York Stock Exchange or you see the bell ring at the NASDAQ. So I'm gonna guess it's one of those two. I know you can't talk about it, but there's a lot more security, a lot more. You're talking about protecting the integrity of the global markets to make sure that someone doesn't infiltrate these places. So this is serious business.
Yeah, it is. But more importantly for us, like I said, we launched a product. We've launched with two obviously massive partners, clients, however you want to put it. But more importantly, this really sets us up well, George. It's to me, I always said that the technology has no value unless it solves a problem, and we're helping a lot of operators here. We're helping the user experience, which is first and foremost, and it's not just the high level events. The sweet spot here is that mid tier for sure. That are looking to go digital that aren't there yet, to have an out-of-the-box turnkey solution with NFC tied to it is something that's very, very appealing and putting us on a lot of opportunities for sure.
And I was about to ask that. A, how did this large U.S. stock exchange find us? How did it come about? And B, kind of like what I said with the Oscars earlier, at a large U.S. stock exchange, you have big banks, big companies, big corporate, all walking through those doors who are going to now be using Checkpoint. So what do you think that might do in terms of opening doors to, significantly more deals for Checkpoint going forward?
Yeah. So this really spun off CheckVax, quite honestly. That was the biggest one. This latest one with the stock exchange here, this has been going on for months. This goes back to when I made the comment we're kind of halting our, pardon the pun, our business development, new opportunities. That's what we're working on, plus others. We're these two huge opportunities with the launch of Checkpoint. But that came by way of CheckVax, where same side of this, what does this look like, post-pandemic now? And this is it. I mean, we have the agility to reshape technology and experiences and deliver new innovation literally overnight. And tech team's done an amazing job here, which of course, led by Tamer and David around the pass side. And it's put us in a very strong position to now, and so I get asked a lot, what are you guys going to do and deliver post-COVID? And Checkpoint is just the spin-off of that. And everyone's looking to become more streamlined, more profitable. Of course, it's even hard for quite a lot of these operators, George, to even find staffing right now. So automation is, I've said over and over, is the key focus for us. So eliminating the need for human contact and stuff through NFC and our partners at Janum as well, and our own smart scan technology. This is in very, very high demand.
And it sounds like you're confident in where it's going to go, because here's an excerpt. Here's an excerpt from your quote. We've seen solid interest in the market for the Checkpoint solution, and we look forward to additional announcements moving forward. So you've already put out a couple of big announcements. Safe to say that there should be more to come?
Most definitely. Everyone's returning to work, returning to office. Everyone's looking to improve and enhance all the time. And it's what we're delivering. So it's been a very good couple of weeks as far as since we've announced that initial product release. And we look forward to what the future brings. And
translating that into, into real results, we didn't speak in March because of March break and all that. While you and I were in our hiatus, you put out your Q2 numbers, $920,000 in change in revenue. But the more important trend is, I'm going to read it. Revenue increased for the third consecutive quarter from $147,000 in Q4 to $580,000 in Q1 to $920,000 in change in Q2. So between the press releases that are, we've seen the last few days, good big wins with big names, and the quarterly results, is the FOBI, is FOBI in run mode yet, or trotting in between walking and running? Where is it at? Because clearly the numbers and the agreements tell us things are going great.
Yeah, I think, like I said, George, forever. This is not going to be a trade. This is not going to be a one day overnight success and announce a $40 million revenue quarter. This is a very strategic long-term play. And, as we're driving new innovation and shaping the future with a lot of the various technologies, this is a slow and steady growth for us. We've made 5 acquisitions, over the last 375 days or whatever it is now. We're starting to complete those various integrations amongst the company and stood up our US operation now, which was a challenge. But no, everything for us is now just focused on the future and working on 2023, quite honestly, already. So the roadmap has been set, a few pieces that we'll look to add as well, and just keep things going. And for us, it's slow and steady. And, it's been a challenging last few months, I'd say, going back to even December, quite honestly. But with all that's happened in the markets, our team's done a good job of just focusing on what we can and what we can control. And, people panic, people get scared and anxiety, which is natural, but it is what it is. We don't control that. All we can do is deliver like we've done here, and continue with new product and development and implementation, execution of our strategy and roadmap, and carry on, as I say.
Yeah, and you're putting your money where your mouth is, because these announcements are real. These are big organizations who take their operations very, very seriously. So this isn't you installing some access stuff at George's house just so I could have a fun toy. You're talking about major organizations here. So clearly, FOBI has now gotten into that higher echelon, the upper echelon of global enterprise recognition, being recognized. So I can't wait to see what else you have coming. By the way, the other thing that came out during our hiatus was you announced a multi-year agreement with coupon leader Vericast, and that ties into both the coupon side and a big name. Just kind of talk to everybody first about who is Vericast, so they know, the gravity of this.
Yeah, I think it's a good point, because I get this a lot the last few weeks that, you guys are just a coupon company. I mean, we're not a coupon company. I mean, no. I think that's quite funny. But I think it's a Q1, and this was my big reason for, the acquisition of Qpulse, as anytime there's a new shift or a new standard, case in point with 8112, it's always that transformation bridge or gateway that has the biggest wind, because these large organizations aren't built to shift on the fly. They don't have the capacity to build the technology. That's not what they do. So this was my big excitement about Qpulse, because to deliver a gateway or bridge, as I said, from 8110 to 8112, to be that middleware solution of transformation from old today or legacy today and future evolution, which is 8112, we are so well positioned now that I'm very, very excited about this one. Because like I said, when you start to look at companies like Vericast, which is one of the largest publishers, of course, globally, we must be doing something right of value. So we'll continue to promote and educate. Education's a big piece. We've put a lot of effort into WebEx events over the last 3 months. There's been a lot of positive feedback, not just from the market, from the CPGs and retailers, understanding how we can help and what is occurring, because it's predominantly right now in the US, the Canadian marketplace and European marketplace still have no idea about this. So to be able to launch this in the US first, which is primarily the biggest stage with the industry leaders and the CPGs and retailers, very, 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 very strong opportunity for us.
Give us an idea of what the Veracast, because it's multi-year, what that agreement kind of looks like. What specific things you guys are going to be doing together?
Well, we're providing the back end capabilities, the technology piece. So, it's another one I can't disclose every great detail of it, George, but, they said it in their quote, I believe, that FOBI's providing the back end interface exchange. And it's, as I said, that middleware solution is always of the highest value.
Given the agreements, given the Q2, how everything is moving forward, are you still in the position where you've almost had to halt new biz dev outreach because your pipeline, your plate is full? How's your pipeline looking right now?
No, not at all. I mean, for us, the big kind of step back, and it was only a 30-day step back. Obviously we're taking smaller deals, but understanding the launch of Checkpoint on the big stage, as you would say, with our event at the Oscars and with the exchange here, those are extremely high profile. We wanted to ensure that we got all the development and bugs and everything out, so it was set for prime time, and that's what we did. And like I said, everything we do is an investment for the future. Now to be able to provide an out-of-the-box solution that's NFC enabled, extremely valuable. So no, we've got opportunities, George, as you're well aware, right across the board of all the technology, from data to wallets to credentials to verification, access and entry, as we see here, QPOLs, everything's going extremely well.
But it sounds like the great part is you're no longer at the point where your Loop Insights or FOBI tugging at people saying, hey, I'm here, they know who FOBI is, they know what you're capable of. And now it seems like you've really transitioned into, all right, you have a seat at the table now. You're no longer asking to see if you can come in the door. You're not knocking anymore.
Yeah, no, there's been it's pretty funny. You've always been a big proponent as to third-party validation, and
yeah, it has to be.
Early days, I caught a lot of flack from people around, especially with NCAA and BDG, about doing some initial use case opportunities. It's these opportunities that lead, to the bigger stage, and it's what it does here. You have to make an investment into your future. Everything can be built on today. The companies that win always invest into the future, and that's what we've done here. So our pipeline is very full, of course, like always, and a lot of it we're looking at is automation. How, the DIY, the pass creator, where it's low touch, it's very repeatable, and then we focus on these one-off events, as we saw here with the one, and focus now on building the SaaS side of the business. And finding that balance, as I've said, is really key, and what will enable us in the future to continually grow and long-term viability.
Last thing, I know some people may kind of passed it over, but the appointment of Andy Chan as CFO.
Yeah.
Sometimes people look at that and say, okay, George is a CFO, big deal, but this is a big deal.
It is a really big deal. It's the first time, our previous CFOs were contractors, billable hours. We didn't have the luxury of having, I'd say the right person in-house that's 100% dedicated to strategy. The financial well-being of the company is, our number one priority, especially as a company such as ourselves on an inflection point. It's been a great pleasure working the last few days with Annie and our new controller as well. So having now in-house financial team is a great luxury for myself, which helps us bode well for modeling and price analysis and auditing everything we do on a quarterly and yearly basis is really where I've been focused since day one. So to have this with Annie's help, I mean, obviously she's been part of various exits as well. We're looking now, George, as you said, we're not the startup running around trying to find a home. We're becoming more well established, and there's great opportunity for us to shape our future, and Annie's going to play a very big part of that.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't realize, right? A lot of small cap investors think a chief financial officer is basically someone who just adds up the debits and credits, file the financial statements, and it's just almost like an accounting job. But a chief financial officer is actually integral in all the strategy discussions, because if George is your head of biz dev and I want to do some things, well, I have to kind of prove out my model to the CFO. How much do I need to spend? What's going to be the ROI? How fast are we going to get that back? So that Rob doesn't have 5 different guys running off in different areas, and you realize we just emptied the kitty before the money came back. That's the CFO's job, is to help plan all of that, right?
That's the biggest point that you hit the nail on the head there, George. There's so many opportunities as you see with the technology, and so many companies, you go down a path and all of a sudden the OpEx outweighs the value of contract on a quarterly annualized license or one-off, whatever that may be. So ensuring like I said, the audit of all of our products and pricing and go-to-market strategies, to me as CFO, is, for the most part, as you said, small cap, it is number crunching, it's reporting. But in Annie's case here, this is about strategy. It's about roadmap of the future, ensuring financial long-term viability of the health of the company. And that's what I'm most excited about now, is when you look at potential exits down the road, having all of this stuff in shape here is what's going to help us pay dividends in the near future.
Yeah, I was actually about to kind of emphasize that point, because you mentioned exits. If I know you can't say much about, but you have to prepare. If you're planning an exit, if you're planning events, and you've got to have the company today in the proper shape in order to be ready for those. Otherwise, it just doesn't work. So I'm just curious. Well, it said she's been a part of exit, so she knows what it takes.
Yeah, and then like I said, for us, George, I'm already on to 2023, so we're always looking ahead for the future. As to, like I said, chess and checkers is a different game. We're now looking towards the future, and we've done a lot of things at a lower level, correct? And from a strategy perspective and execution perspective, we're now looking at putting all of the pieces together in the box and packaging it up nicely for the future.
Well, congratulations, Rob, on a lot of great things that have been announced during our hiatus. And is it safe to assume that you and I aren't going to do another 60-day hiatus or so, that we'll be in contact probably a lot sooner? You'll be back?
Yeah, and I'll be out your way in the near future as well. So, yeah.
All right. Well, congrats, and thanks, Rob. Thanks for joining us, man. We know your day is busier than anybody I know. So the fact that you're able to take, half an hour of your time out to really speak to shareholders is great.
No, it's good. We try to give as much visibility as we can. Obviously, so we haven't done a lot of this of late for various reasons, but I said we're just focused on the future and continuing to do what we do.
For everybody at home, you've been watching or you've been listening by podcast on Spotify, Google, Apple, your favorite podcast platform, to Rob Anson. He's CEO of FOBI AI, trades in Canada under the stock symbol FOBI, FOBI, and for our friends in the US, FOBIF. For those new to the story, you want to do your due diligence, get the company's profile page on the Agoracom. Man, if there's ever a company with a lot of moving parts, a lot of new technology, and a lot of growth, this is it. So we try and give you a good 1,000-foot overview of the company to get a good understanding. And then when you got that and you're comfortable, ready to do your deep dive, click right over to the FOBI website, do your deep dive due diligence. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day. See you next time.
Hey guys, this video is over, but don't forget to help your company by liking it and then leaving a comment below. And then don't forget to help yourself by subscribing to our channel so you don't ever miss another great Agoracom small cap video.